Well, good morning. It is Tuesday morning, and it's time to talk about a first look at our topic and usually our text for the sermon coming up this week at Day Spring Presbyterian Church. We're in Reformation Month, and part of Reformation Month this time for us is looking at changes that have come in the views of children. How do we view children's education? How do we view children as people? How do we view their salvation? All these things changed substantially when the Roman Catholic tradition found itself not in complete power anymore. And once again, God's people began to be free to look at the scriptures and talk carefully and reason from them about matters of the faith. Well, in our situation this week, we're looking at something that crosses over. It's October 15th. We'll be commemorating pregnancy and infant loss around our nation. We'll be commemorating that. And that's going to cross over with our Reformation Month as we look at what does the Bible say concerning, I thought there was a snake over there. We look over at what does the Bible say about children when they die. The names of our babies was Hannah and Charity. Our two babies at 23 weeks and 26 weeks went to be with the Lord. Those were very difficult, painful times for us. Times that my friends and other families have shared as they too have lost babies. I have one friend who his wife had 7 miscarriages. So there's a tremendous emotional grief debt that we have in our lives surrounding the loss of our little babies and how we had them for such a short period of time, and yet they affect us so deeply. And as we look at the scriptures, we want to take that emotional issue into account because the text is certainly trying to talk about that. We may be deaf to it, but if the writers of Scripture were human, they were most certainly talking about the grief and the difficulty of losing children in infancy, because it was much more common during their times than it is in our own. So as we look overall at the Scriptures, I hope that you'll pray for me, that you'll pray for our congregation, that you'll pray that I'm able to bring a message of hope, a message that reflects the Scriptures, that doesn't shout where God has whispered, but also doesn't whisper where God has shouted. Most of all, I know that my first point in my message this week will be that children are people like us. They're not of a different class. They're not a different species. They're people just like us. And therefore, all the passages in Scripture that talk to people, that talk about our problem of inherited guilt and sin from Adam, that talk about our solution of salvation through Christ alone, by grace, through faith, that applies to them as well. And in saying that they're like us, that offers us great hope and great comfort and a lot of information then to address what happens to children when they die. So thank you so much for praying for me this week as we look at this very emotional, weighty topic and ask the Lord to show us from Scripture what our hearts are to believe and to feel about this. Have a great week. God bless you. Bye-bye.